What's up, everyone, and welcome to the 64th episode of the MMA Bourbon Appreciation Society. Jeremy Johnson, along with Jim Range, and
Cheers,
we are
everybody.
missing one Craig Nasello tonight. Craig is on assignment. Actually, that's not true.
He had a prior commitment because we moved the show back.
Yeah,
so
we
we'll
did.
give him the band leeway for that.
But, so we did have to move the show for, some life things. But we found out something about Craig this week. And I'm honestly, I'm kind of a little shocked.
Likewise.
I'm a little impressed. Actually, I'm quite a lot impressed.
Quite impressed.
And I'm amazed that he doesn't talk about it. So we found out tonight Craig is at a
Bags tournament?
Yeah.
A Bags Halloween event.
Yeah. But number one, I really didn't know that because there's bags, there's, I guess they call it cornhole, which I'm not saying on this show. But got to keep that 3 minutes in. So Craig is actually number 30 in the state.
Of Illinois, yeah.
Yeah, in this particular sport. And so I have decided that if Craig decides that he wants to go pro, I am going to sponsor him because I think that would be a hell of a market for Uppercut whiskey. So, no, congrats, Craig, on being a top 30. So that's pretty awesome. I was amazed. So, Jim, with that though, we had to do some interesting stuff because we're down a man tonight. So.
Yeah.
And I am going to let you, of course, as we normally do, we make a cocktail. We have, of course, our Sip, Sink, and Save tonight. We will have our Is It Worth It, and we will talk all about MMA, but we also have a guest who will be joining us in just a bit, and that will be Danny Foulks, the executive sous-chef from Rack House in
Cottleville, Missouri.
Cottleville, Missouri.
If you haven't been there, phenomenal restaurant, phenomenal bar selection. Very nice cigar room.
Some of the best whiskey that you will ever see, and rivals both Jim and my collection put together, which is really
No, it doesn't rival. It blows the shit out of both of us.
You're not lying. It's true.
I hope I made it 3 minutes before I slipped that. No, seriously, it's a great whiskey selection. I've been fortunate enough to pick up a few bottles from them in the past. My first Whistle Big 18 came from them.
Yeah. So, but I have known Daniel for quite some time, and he makes amazing food. But we had a question from the audience that came back of food pairings with whiskey, and well, I had to go find a real chef to make this happen. But first, of course, we have to make a cocktail. And one, Jim Range, you had a trip to Louisville.
Which has nothing to do with a cocktail, though,
But you had a trip to Louisville.
Yep.
You came back, you were inspired, and you told me, I'm going to make the drink tonight. So go for it.
All right. So tonight what we're going to do, it's fall is here. So we're going to do an apple cider bourbon sour.
That's a mouthful,
on
and it sounds good.
A whiskey sour. All right. We're going to use Old Granddad 114 for this. We're going to do 1.5 ounces of bourbon.
Producer Matt already looks thirsty, so I know where this one's going.
No, it's going right in my glass. We're going to do 3/4 ounce of apple cider. And the best part of this is we're going to smoke it too.
Oh, that's getting serious.
We're going to do 1/2 ounce of lemon juice. We're doing real lemon. We're just squeezing half a lemon. It's close enough for it. You can tell we've all pretty much gone through our drinks tonight, so it's pretty close to spot on.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And then the final touch is 1/2 ounce of maple syrup. We broke out, which is going to lead into our Sip, Sink, and Save night. We broke it out the Whistle Pig rye aged maple syrup.
Rye aged maple syrup. Gotta love that.
It's great on pancakes.
It's great on everything.
All right. So the interesting part with this, we're not putting any bitters or anything. We're getting everything from the maple syrup, the apple cider, and the lemon. All right. I'm going to stir it up. And I know normally, Jeremy, we shake it, not stir it with...
I wasn't going to say anything, but citrus gets shaken.
Yep, but this is done very well with this.
Okay.
We're going to plop it into the homemade smoker we did. We were a little bored this week, so...
This is what retirement gets Jimmy. It gets Jimmy to a new project.
That's right.
So if you all need a smoker, we're going to start launching those, I'm sure, on our website at some point in time. So.
We're using Breville smoker on the back end of it. Let it fill up. You see it fills up quite quickly.
And it makes the house smell amazing.
It does.
I mean, that's how the studio should smell. So.
I'm using a apple cedar chips or apple chips
Okay.
for it. All right.
And
Pour
look
out.
at that.
Cheers, everybody.
All right. Check that one out. Of course, I'm going to have Jim put the recipe up on our Facebook page. So go check that out. New cocktail tonight. He will take care of all of that for you. So, but as I said, tonight I got asked the question about food and beverage pairings with whiskey. So I had to go to one of the best around. I've known this man for a long time now, and we met in a bar. Fancy that, right? So joining me now is Daniel Foulks, Executive Sous Chef of Rack House. Give it up for him, everybody. Thank you. Hey. Daniel, how are you?
Old, tired.
Happens to all of us. That's what it's like in the chef business. So, Dan, though, tell me kind of what got you involved in food. I know that you're a former military, came out of that, jumped into the food business. Tell me all about it.
Well, I started off going to a culinary school at North County Tech for high school, and it was the program just to kind of get me out of doing actual schoolwork. And
Okay.
went and joined the Marines after that for 10 years and kept cooking for my Marines the entire time, and it always had a pretty good reception. And once I got out, I got to start working at a restaurant as the general manager on Main Street, St. Charles, and the former Tompkins.
And we walked right in the door.
And they fell into our trap, and here we are.
Sat at the bar at least once a week on a place that was 35, 40 miles from our house. But yeah, so.
That is true.
It is true. But no, I can tell you, Daniel makes some of the best food that you will have. And tonight, so really kind of take me into the world of food and whiskey, because number one, you made some amazing food tonight. We've already all sampled it, and they're dying for the plate that's behind me right now. But kind of talk me through, how do you go about putting together the ideas of what would be and how does it pair?
I think it really gets subjective to everybody's individual tastes.
Okay.
Everything when it comes to pairing any alcohol with food, you know, you have your baselines, but then you have how everybody feels about those certain things. You could talk to 5 different sommeliers, and they could tell you 5 different pairings for 5 different meals, but it's the same with whiskey. You're getting different notes, different flavors, different ages, all of that you can all think, hey, this sounds really good with this specific item. So
Okay.
whether it's a cheese, a dessert, or an entree, the difference that you're going to find in each individual whiskey, you can find a pairing with each individual food.
Okay, so, but what would be, let's say that it's the starter pack of this. Are you looking at the idea of what is the main thing that you're going to go to for people and be like, hey, this is what you need to have first to start off?
First and foremost, I think steak and whiskey.
Oh, well, it just so happens that
Always.
I may have an amazing steak behind here, and I'm actually
I'm
going
gonna
to move
slide this
these
down for you
over
to make
just
some
a
room.
moment. Now, producer Matt, if you could get a look at that right there, that is amazing. I'm telling you what.
And it was delicious.
Oh, it was. So, first off, Dan, talk me through what we've got going on here.
So, kind of for a starter, I have a kind of vodka sauce with
Okay.
a little bit of roasted red pepper in it on a crostini with Green Dirt Lover cheese. It's a local farm in Missouri that produces
Okay.
cheese, and it's a fully edible rind. Then I've got a steak au pois. So it's got the au pois sauce and some mashed potatoes. And then I've got a pumpkin cheesecake with a marshmallow top, but it pairs with each individual whiskey that we have.
Okay, so which would be, number one, we've already eaten one of these, and I'm about to jump into this next one because, you know, it is what it is. But what would be your first whiskey to start with something like this?
So my first whiskey to start, it's actually a barrel pick from a friend of mine over at Maui's Liquor
Okay.
in Cottleville.
Please keep talking, I'm going to cut.
It's kind of, with the cheese, it's kind of got the notes of a classic Booker's, just a little bit less burn, a little bit lighter front, and it just, everything that you expect from a Booker's with the burn or anything else, it's cut through by the cheeses that we have, and it's fantastic together. It helps kind of ease you through
Jim, you gotta get
if
it
you're
by
not
those.
as
You got to get them by those.
involved with high proof whiskeys.
Yep, there you go, right there. This is, number one, this is amazing.
Thank
and
you.
You have some of the creamiest mashed potatoes, and I know that I asked this beforehand, but you'll see palm puree on a menu. Tell me the difference and what, because I would almost call this a palm puree over a mashed potato, would you not?
That's fair. Yeah.
Look at me knowing my culinary stuff.
First time for everything.
Exactly. Oh my God, this is so good.
I know.
Okay. I am going to pass this over to the side over here to producer Matt and to producer DJ K-Pop to grab that, and they are going to enjoy off-site while we talk. Okay. So we've had that. Tell me about the dessert. Because the thing that I didn't realize is, number one, that you can drink whiskey not just as with a savory, it works with a sweet. And why is that?
Well, there's a lot of different options for your whiskey pairings and a lot of different flavors that you can find in whiskeys. There's some whistle pigs that have more maple front flavors, and I have a smoked maple Knob Creek that we do.
Oh, well, let's
I
break
think
that
we might
out.
have that right behind
Let's
us.
break that out then.
And, you know, it's when you think smoked maple, you think fall, you think pumpkin. The flavors all end up rounding out really well together. We actually have a smoked maple old fashioned at the Rack House that I strongly recommend with any dessert.
I
So-
had one the other night.
So we're going to talk
Good,
about it a
right?
lot, but
Yes.
where is the Rack House, and how do they find out more info?
It's over off Highway N in Cottleville. You can look us up, Google. We have our Instagram page. We have Facebook is a fantastic way to get to us. You can see all of our specials that we post regularly, and all the events that we continuously do throughout.
Producer Matt, you have the pumpkin cheesecake in front of you. You also have the smoked maple Knob Creek. Give me your thoughts real quick on how does that whiskey work with sweet? Because I can tell you right now, this whiskey's amazing.
It is.
So,
Yeah, I'm really digging the Knob Creek.
yeah, absolutely. This was really good. It works so well.
So I'll be
Number one.
honest, with that one, with that maple, I think that's one which we got lucky enough by going with the old granddad with a drink instead of 114. My
Yeah.
wife liked the apple cider sour. I think with that maple, we could get her to actually enjoy a
You know,
drink with that we could get.
I am a huge fan of the Knob Creek products anyway.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those, though, that, like, is it because that there is a sugary base to it, Daniel, that makes it worth it with the I mean, because you've got a sweet with a sweet, but it's not overly.
Well, it's just like when you're thinking of pairing a dessert wine with food.
Okay.
You're still getting the robust flavors from the wine. You're still getting the robust flavors from the whiskey, along with those sweeter notes. When it comes to wine, maybe it's a fruit or maybe it's something else. It's the same with whiskey. Some are aged with apricot, some are aged in port wine barrels, some are aged in something that's going to help cut through and really add to the sweetness of a dessert.
Okay. So then, what is the weirdest pairing of, it could be whiskey cocktail with food that you think you've come across? And you know, you've been in the bar business for, like you said, quite a while. You've done both facets, and I know that you worked even outside in the alcohol industry at one point in time.
I did, yeah.
So yeah, so what is the weirdest one you think you've come up with?
Honestly, I think it would probably be actually one of them that I know you enjoyed a while ago. I think
It always goes back to me.
and it's the French Manhattan that we used to run,
Oh.
which I have today as well.
Well,
It's Chambord mixed with Woodford with the Amarena cherries, and it's got the sweeter flavor. It's got things that you wouldn't necessarily look for with your bourbon, but it all comes together really well, and it pairs shockingly well, for me at least, with shrimp cocktail.
oh my.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, well,
I don't know why. I love it together.
all I know is that with this cocktail, I have seen producer DJ K-Pop on the Tompkins benches many a night going, "I love you, Daniel," and I'm like, "Yep, that's how that went down." So, all right, can I ask if you would make us one of those tonight? Actually, could you make us a couple?
What would you need?
What would you need?
I can absolutely. I think I actually have everything
Oh,
right
perfect.
over behind me here.
Perfect.
I just need some glasses and some ice.
Glasses
Well,
are down below.
glasses are all. See, we have the
Are
the
you-
most amazing set, don't we? I mean, like,
Really,
Are
really,
you
really
okay
good.
with?
and there's ice behind you.
sounds great.
Sonic ice for it.
Yeah, so we have, and I'm just gonna, so kind of talk me through as you go here. What is the recipe? What's the process? Because, you know, like Jim said, we generally shake. We don't, yeah, absolutely. There's ice behind us. There's a scoop on top. Like I said, we are very well set up here in the studio.
Yeah, that, you know, you're throwing me off guard a little bit. So you don't need a ton of ice. The ice just kind of helps deliver flavor.
Okay.
It's just like, you know, when you put a glass of ice in a glass of whiskey, it'll change the outcome of what you're getting.
Sure.
I like ice in it. It's one of the simplest cocktails.
Okay.
I mean, it is 3 ingredients and that's it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It's about a ½ ounce to an ounce of Chambord.
You can tell this is a professional here because he's pouring. What's that? This is 100% can be a dessert drink.
It can be an anything drink.
Yes.
I'll drink it with a cigar. I'll drink it when I get home because I'm tired and don't want to go to bed yet. I'll drink it with steak, appetizers, anything. And we just do, I am heavy-handed, so
I like how he looks. Yeah, this is good.
about 2 ounces of Woodford for me.
That works for me.
Absolutely.
And I mean, obviously, we're just assuming that my measurements as I'm pouring this are correct.
I mean, you know.
It doesn't have to be Woodford necessarily, but that's what I've always made it with.
Okay.
Woodford's honestly one of my favorites. It's my go-to kind of daily drink. So when I make cocktails, I tend to use it a lot. And then I just stir the amaranth cherry so you get the cherry juices in it. You can eat the cherries with it. It's just like a lot of the barrel-aged Manhattans that we do at Rack House. We always have them. So you get the 3 flavors kind of working together in one.
Well, cheers, everyone. And if you want to find this recipe, of course, we will also put this on our Facebook page and on our Twitter at MMA Bourbon. So, oh my Lord. Oh
I might
my
be
Lord.
sitting out
Probably
there.
been a while
I
for
might
you.
be firing up the fire pit tonight. and having a
I'm
cigar.
not gonna lie, this is amazing, and I'm gonna let producer Matt try this one over here too. So we're gonna pass this over to him on this side, so he has got a little taste of that one also. Daniel, that is amazing.
That's incredible.
Amazing. So, what is your best advice though? Because you don't want people to be scared coming into the idea of whiskey and food because they're like, oh, well, I could have a cocktail with dinner, but then what if I want to get a pour and I'm a little worried? They don't want to be scared. What is your best advice for the newbie coming in?
I would say start with a whiskey that you know.
Okay.
And kind of think back to when you've had it and what you think sounded good with it at the time. Because what you thought sounded good with it is probably going to be good with it to you.
Yep.
Okay. Jim, what is your favorite food to have with whiskey?
It's steak.
Really? Okay.
Honestly, it is. When I'm out here grilling, which I do, constantly I'm smoking something.
Yeah.
There's always a pour going.
Producer Matt, what's your favorite?
I think bread or something.
Bread?
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Chef Daniel, what is your favorite?
Honestly, cheese courses.
You and I are pretty close. Mine is ice cream. I love vanilla ice cream and whiskey. I love vanilla ice cream and whiskey.
I do that at night.
And there is nothing better. So what we're telling you guys, though, is, of course, try it. It's one of those that I hope we answered your questions. If not, throw them, of course, to us on our Facebook page. For any questions you have, we'll get those to Chef Daniel also. But now, I know you watch some MMA with us, too, but we're going to talk about that in just a bit. But first, of course, we're going to have our Sip, Sink, and Save tonight, which is, of course, brought to you by Brad Carey at Unrivaled Realty. Check them out at unrivaledrealty.com for all of your home buying and selling needs. That's right, Brad Carey can take great care of you. Check him, text him at 314-378-6939. One more time.
It's about my house one, Brad.
You just, oh, that's true, you did. Producer Matt bought a house
That's right.
from Unrivaled Realty. So look at that. All right. So if you ever need a house, we got a guy for you. So, all right, tonight's Sip, Sink, and Save. Jim, we have lined up, I don't think we've ever done this.
And it was spur of the moment because we didn't plan.
Way to tell them behind the scenes worse than I normally do.
No,
I mean,
I'm
but hey,
transparent.
I love
dude,
the-
you know it.
Love the honesty.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
It
So,
is, but it works.
So tell us about it.
So, with us having the Whistle Pig Rye,
Pardon me, I'm going to go get a bite. Continue.
aged maple syrup, or is it worth it? Is going to be a peerless rye. It's like, do we have 3 different Whistle Pigs? Well, it turns out we've got 2 Boss Hogs. We've got Samurai Scientist, and I'm always butchering the name, Lapalupu Pacific,
You just made that up.
along with, we pulled out our Whistle Pig 12, which is a Benny's pick.
Not to interrupt, but the pumpkin cheesecake and the maple whiskey may be the single best thing.
Combination.
Oh my God.
Is it better than us drinking a bottle of port wine at dessert one night by ourselves?
Yes, it legitimately is. We did do that one night though.
I could fully see that happening for you.
No. Oh, absolutely. You should have seen
Oh, but
us-
it was worse. It wasn't a 375. They gave us a 750.
Yeah, they gave us 750.
Oh.
and we-
Nobody else at dinner liked it.
And
Him and I killed the
we
whole bottle by
So
ourselves.
$3.75 a piece.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah. Okay. All right, Jim. So Chef Daniel can see how this works. Give me your sip, sink, and save.
All right. I've gone back and forth with this a little bit.
You've been thinking hard on this.
I usually do with this a little bit, but my sip
Well, this is your jam.
And
You are a
rye
whistle
is-
pig person.
and Whistle Pigs right up the alley. And this one's going to throw some people for a curveball, I think. And I'm ignoring price. I'm going strictly off the flavor, the way it hits
Price
everything.
doesn't play into this one.
No, it doesn't. I'm going to sip the Samurai Scientist, which is aged in Imishu. How do you say it?
Pretty sure it's a shoe.
Imishu barrels.
I've been drinking tonight.
I'm going to sink, which shocked me comparing it to the other 3, the Benny's
Really?
Select, and I'm saving the La Palula.
Interesting.
I gotta make sure I say it right. Yep.
Okay.
La Palupa.
Is that because your wife bought it?
No, my wife bought this one. Which, the ultimate sticker shock to my wife was the day she pulled in to pick up that bottle for me.
All right. So run through them again. Sip, sink, and save is.
I'm going right to left. Sip, sink, save. The flavor profile for the 2 Boss Hogs is just incredible. And I think
And
breaking
very
it up-
different.
and very different, which is what I love about Whistle Pig anyway, especially
Yes.
when you get into the Boss Hogs, because they're all aged in different barrels. It's from different,
Oh yeah, it's all a different
yeah,
thing.
it's different liqueurs. This one though, aged, is just incredible, the aging of it.
All right. Chef Daniel, I know that you're new to the game here, but we did do a tasting of all of them beforehand. Give
did?
me your sip, sink, and save.
So I'm gonna probably upset somebody here,
Well,
but
No, you won't.
I would.
we poured Old Rip 10 down the drain last week, so yeah, it's fine.
I would sip the Benny.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
good. It was smooth. I enjoyed it. I would sink the Samurai.
So that's it.
Wow.
That's where I was torn, going back and forth.
You know, I love heat in my whiskey. I absolutely do, but I think it's too much to where it undercuts the other flavors that are supposed to be coming through in the whiskey.
Totally respect that.
Interesting.
And then I would absolutely save I'm not going to butcher the name,
Yes,
but
but the other Boss Hog on the table.
The rum cask.
Yes.
I think it's smooth. I think it's delightful. It almost reminds me of the Irish whiskey of Middleton.
Okay.
Yeah.
How well it can go down and how well it coats the tongue. So.
This is one I would break out for anybody that came to the house that enjoys their whiskeys and enjoys a rye. I would break that out for them over almost anything else I've got in the house with the ryes.
I absolutely agree with that.
All right, one more time through sip, sink, and save is we're sipping.
So we're going to sip, sink, and save.
Wow.
Now I want to see where Jeremy's going with this one.
Wow. Jeez. Okay. All right. I'll let it slide. So, a quick story though. I am very partial to Boss Hog Samurai Scientist. On the last day that his former was open, Tompkins, we were the last customers to ever be in the place, and I bought every high-end bottle that they had left. I bought every one of them. And I went to the staff, and I'm like, y'all want to have a drink? And so we opened up the last of it. We basically almost killed the boss hog by that time. It was an amazing night. So the Samurai Scientist lives in my heart from that one. But I am going to start off with my sip this evening will be the Samurai Scientist. It's a great pour whiskey. As you said, it's very hot. But you add a cube to it, it brings that proof down. You are hitting all of those open notes that you want to. It really does pull a lot of citric or a lot of fruity flavors that come through it, especially a lot of dark fruit taste, a lot of cherry, a lot of things like that. I am going to sink the store pick because I didn't care for it. I'm not gonna lie to you. It lacks a little bit of cake spice that you would think that you would come into a rye. It did not pull that from what I would see as a traditional whistle pig of that year. I am going to, of course, save the other big boss hog here. As we see, we have saved some of it. But I just feel that that one has, number one, it has such a decent proof to it that it could mix almost anything. You throw that into a Manhattan, you throw that into an old fashioned, you are killing it. Absolutely. Yep. And if you have people who are not used to the idea of ryes, that would hit. In a cocktail, that would hit. So I am going to sip, I'm going to sink, and I'm going to save. Let us know what you would think in the comments here. And of course, again, it's always brought to you by Brad Carey at Unrivaled Realty. Again, check them out, unrivaledrealty.com. They got Matt a house. They can get you a house too. So check them out at unrivaledrealty.com. That was a great ad. We should cut that one for Brad sometime. So, all right. Now, there is one other thing that we have to visit tonight on our whiskey setup. And that is, tonight is the 105th anniversary of the Volstead Act. And so if you don't know what the Volstead Act, I'll give you the quick one because Craig's not here and he can't tell me that I can't go down the rabbit hole of what it is. So the Volstead Act was what led to Prohibition. It was the initial act that started Prohibition.
Yep.
And so Jim 105 years.
I know. Prohibition started 2020, 105 years ago, 1919. This was passed.
But
it was crazy.
It was done to the idea of that we could stop intoxicating beverages and we stopped the industrial use of alcohol, which of course we know didn't really last long. They came to the idea of that you could then get prescriptions of whiskey. That was the amazing thing. I actually have a prescription for whiskey.
I could use a prescription for whiskey.
Absolutely.
So here's what's interesting with that.
Yes.
Hangnail was an approved
absolutely
prescription that you get a prescription for medicinal whiskey for a hangnail.
I think I've got
it
one.
quadrupled the amount of prescriptions being written.
The other thing that is very interesting is that the Volstead Act was, like I said, what jumped the idea of Prohibition, then it came into effect. But whenever it all went down, not only could your doctor write you a prescription, but so could your minister. And so what happened is a bunch of rabbis went and got their minister license so that they could write prescriptions for all of their people. So it didn't really work. And I'd like to thank Mr. Nacella, who is in the comments telling us, okay, move it along, it's now getting boring.
So what's funny with it, though, is, and I'm going to jump ahead and come back.
Go ahead.
I went and spent time this week purposely going to Old Forester and going down because of knowing Volstead Act was this week.
Mm-hmm.
George Garvin Brown, who founded Old Forester, was so much
Would that be the Brown of Brown and Foreman?
Yes, it would,
Look
sir.
at that. Look
Good
at
call.
that. See you.
He wrote a book about pulling out Bible verses, fighting the religious movement against it, saying the Bible says we should be drinking.
Wow.
Now, you're going through on the tour, it's got a quote on it on one of the walls. I am undertaking to expose what I conceive to be the most dangerous propaganda against civil and religious liberty that has ever confronted the American people. Prohibition.
There we go.
But he wrote a book about it. The Holy Bible repudiates prohibition by George Garvin Brown.
And I wholeheartedly agree with him. It was a very failed experiment that went down, but it didn't last, and we thank them. So
what was interesting, though, with the medicinal, only 6 licenses were provided for
yes,
that, and they were not allowed to produce anything. Did you also know they had a 30-day grace period during Prohibition that they could fire the stills back up?
Yes, I did know that.
Which saved, when Prohibition was ended,
They all had
they had a
stuff
stockpile.
aging.
Those 6 distilleries had a stockpile of everything aging that, boom, we're ready to go.
Yeah. And that's what literally saved it from the bootleggers
Yeah.
who were running it, and that's where the term bootlegging and all of the mob came to run whiskey and things. So, but all right, I'm kind of stoked on this one. This has been good. So, but we're gonna jump into, of course, the world of mixed martial arts here, because we know Craig's waiting for all of that in the comments, and of course, our MMA segment is brought to you tonight by Yoroi Tape. Yoroi, the best in hand wrapping, the best athletic tape in the business. Go check them out at yoroiusa.com for all of your taping needs, and it brings you all of our MMA action tonight. So first off, producer Matt sent us a crazy thing today, and it was, so former heavyweight Francis Ngannou of the UFC went to PFL. PFL is another organization. I know that you do watch MMA on occasion, so you know what I'm talking about. Francis Ngannou only sold 10,000 pay-per-view eyes, and it doesn't even cover his opponent's salary and what they made in pay-per-view money. So, Jim Range, is PFL going to last?
I don't think they got the marketing to do it.
He signed May 16th of 2023.
Okay.
This was his first fight.
That's a long time to sit. But he's done 2 boxing fights. He made millions of dollars.
Right.
And Francis has fought Tyson Fury. He's fought Anthony Joshua in boxing. And he made millions of dollars. And they thought that this was going to be the big draw that brought boxing over to PFL. And it hasn't.
But
And so,
they're counting on the Saudi money to keep them afloat.
okay, but how long are the Saudis going to keep funding this?
They got a lot of money.
Well, they got unlimited oil money. But, I mean, you know, what
Well,
color is
I
your
mean,
Bugatti?
They're going
So,
boxing, they're going
Well,
golf. What are they
soccer.
not? Soccer.
everything. So,
But there's an argument to be made about every time that a sport tries to expand into an extra league, it's a 50-50 of whether it's going to work out.
absolutely.
Well, and this one wound up, in my opinion, the smaller PFL buying Bellator. I thought Bellator was bigger. The money was there to buy it, grow it. They absorbed the larger company. But Bellator couldn't truly compete, as much as I love Bellator fights and a lot of the fighters on it. They couldn't compete with the UFC. You don't have the backing and the star power as a whole to do it.
So, okay. So then, Matt, I know that you had the info on that. So it was only 10,000 basically pay-per-views were sold for PFL.
About $500,000.
That's literally, and then what was the salaries between the two of them? It was almost like 13 million, right?
Yeah.
So I have actually, and I have tried to get Don Davis for the show. Don Davis is the president of PFL, and so far he has not returned my calls. Don, let's make that happen. So, but we're trying. Is this the nail in the coffin? A nail in the coffin of PFL, Jim?
I don't think so. I think they've got enough backing to keep them going, but I think it's only going to go on for so long.
Fair. So, Danny, you were one of those that, like you said, you follow it. So you know the UFC, you know some fighters, you know some things that. As an kind of an outsider, but kind of into the sport, do you even know that PFL exists?
I do.
Okay.
But it's a lot of, I can't see how it can compete when it comes to the advertising, the talk shows, you see all these, it's on ESPN, it's on everything else for the UFC. Bellator was on ESPN, it was on everything to a degree, and it's just not. It's not getting the same marketing. It's not getting the same attention. It's going to be a very large uphill battle to make sure that it succeeds.
Well, and then I think that, going against then a UFC pay-per-view, which sold a ton of buys, and we saw one of the craziest broken chins with Robert Whittaker getting basically, he got his jaw broken by Hansak Chimaev, and then he kind of bulldog choked him, squeezed it, and his jaw moved together, and you can see his teeth pop. And it's disgusting. But actually, I did have this happen in a fight once in Kansas City. I had a guy got punched in the jaw, and it broke his jaw, and you saw his teeth split. Yeah, it was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. So the thing is that we know about the results of that particular card. You know, Max Holloway saying he's not going to retire. But nobody's really talking about PFL.
There's no news about it.
There's no news about it. So I don't know. It's a tough road to hoe with them. So
I mean, even with the backing they've got, I mean, you've got Randy as one of their announcers. He's a part owner.
Oh.
And he's one of their announcers. You would think Randy's got a huge draw
Randy Couture.
with his military background, with his UFC
I mean,
Hall of Fame,
absolutely.
MMA Hall of Fame, everything he's got.
He was an expendable.
Yeah.
For real.
I mean,
I actually saw
but-
that movie. I don't watch movies.
He doesn't, even that isn't drawing the people in. Where you say Joe Rogan, what do you think of a Joe Rogan?
100. Well, interviewing Trump.
Well,
No, I still think of Fear Factor.
Okay, fair. All right.
But no, but I mean, you look at the history of what Dana did bringing him in and what that turned into. Holy shit!
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, it catapulted Joe beyond where he was
Yeah.
before. But that combination of them, and when you've got the three announcers, the key announcers you've got with Cormier, Rogan,
Anik.
and that, it's nobody compares to that when it comes to combat sports. I'm sorry.
Fair.
Even with boxing, you don't.
But are they spending the same kind of money that they spend on people like Joe Rogan to get the word out about them, to make sure that they're advertised for, to make sure that their faces are out there? Because I think that's really where it's got to start. Like, you need to pay the advertising to make sure that the faces of your franchise, the announcers, everything is out there and prevalent to everybody that's around.
It's a fair statement.
It's solid.
And I don't think that they are. I don't think that they have the draw and the reach. You know, Joe Rogan is, I mean, he is the biggest thing in media at the moment, you know, because he interviewed Donald Trump. Check it out. 11 million frickin' views in like 24 hours, just saying. Also, COVID isn't real. Remember that. That's a running joke on the show. So, yeah. But let us know what you think. Now, I have one more from the UFC this past weekend, and that is Max Holloway. Max Holloway is one of the toughest SOBs that there is out there, but he took yet another L in this one. He claims he's not done. Now, I know that we have seen Max Holloway fight since he was a kid. You probably even know who Max Holloway is just because of the fighting.
Yes, sir.
All right. Daniel, do you think Max Holloway needs to retire?
I think that's up to the individual.
Okay.
You know, I don't feel that it's fair to weigh in on the opinion, because I think if it was me out there, I don't want to hear the outside voices. I know what I'm capable of continuing to do.
Yeah, but there comes a point in time when you got smacked in the head so much that you might not be...
Hey, I've been smacked in the head a lot.
I mean, fair.
I still keep going. You
It's
know?
fair. Jim, what do you think?
I think it's getting close, if it's not there already. But I kind of agree. We had this talk a couple weeks ago about, who did we talk about a couple months ago?
Oh,
Should they retire or not?
A bunch of them.
But we've just had this recently of, do they keep going or not? They've got to make the decision on their own. When are they ready to step away and say, my mindset, my life, my way of life is more important than the paycheck or the glory? And it's probably more the glory than it's. I want to be the best.
And you've got to think, these guys have trained for this their entire lives. This is all they've known. This is what they've done. Like, this is the moment for them that they wanted to be in. And
Okay.
it's going to be really hard to give that up.
That was that. Thank you for going to my... You got to stop going to my gotcha questions. Okay. No, one more, though, tonight, of course, before I get to my final. So I have a final gotcha question.
Yeah, we didn't warn you about this.
We didn't warn you about this, and we don't talk about this
Delightful.
one. Yeah, exactly. So, sorry, checking the comments there.
Oh, it's just my wife picking on Craig.
Got it.
How are you?
Okay, that's fair. All right. We are getting closer to one. Jake Paul taking on Mike Tyson. So, Daniel, as a fan of the combat sports world, are you looking forward to this fight?
I am absolutely looking forward to it.
Okay.
I very much am.
So, give me your predictions.
I really would love to see Mike Tyson go out there and do what he's done his entire life and not care if he gets hit and bob and weave out of it anyways and end the fight with an absolute win.
So, what do you think is really going to happen?
I think Mike Tyson's going to win.
Oh, all right.
I'm sorry. I can't take Jake Paul seriously enough personally.
You just insulted Jim Range's
See,
favorite
why do we
boxer.
go there?
Now, here's the thing. So,
No, this is a made-up favorite boxing
No.
comment.
So this man has shot Adrian Broner. He has done ESPN shoots, Showtime boxing shoots, taking photos of all of these world champions, and yet Jake Paul is his favorite fighter.
Well, that's we were getting along really well.
He's about to be Lando walking down the paddock today, Matt. I know you saw that clip.
Oh, goodness.
Jeremy's about to take the same cry.
Well, I just think, one has everything to lose, and one has absolutely nothing left to prove. So I think he's going to go out there and he's going to enjoy it, have fun, and enjoy teaching a kid what's up.
Jim, give your rebuttal.
I've said for how long that Tyson's going to beat him.
He's going to beat your favorite fighter?
Jim literally has a shirt that says Jake Paul is my favorite fighter on
I
it.
won't say which one of the three ass clowns that partnered the show with me walked around and handed it to me during the show. But no, honestly, I will say, and I've said it, and you said it too, Jeremy, Jake Paul has progressed to the point that he's got boxing skills. Yeah. Is he
Absolutely.
a top-level fighter to be fighting at the level he says he wants to be at? No. Is he a journeyman fighter? Yes.
I think when he started fighting, people thought it was an absolute joke. And then I think he has absolutely come out and proved himself that he is interested in this. It's not for views, it's not for likes that people were talking about. And he's gotten in shape for it, but I still don't think there's any chance that he's
There's
gonna
not.
win.
I don't think so either.
Producer Matt.
Isn't the goal of prize fighting to make the prize?
I 100%. It's all about the money, and don't let him tell you any differently. So it is going to go down, though. I believe it's November 15th. Yeah, so we're getting close. We'll probably have one more show before that, and then we will, of course, be live tweeting during that particular boxing
We're going
match.
to have a watch party here if you're not working tonight, if you want to come watch it.
I'll request off.
100%.
I
So
mean, we'll have the bar open.
Yeah.
Any
I might
of our
get-
viewers
I might
that
get
are in
denied.
the area, come on over to the bar. It's going to be open. We'll have food. Who knows what? Jeremy and I and Craig keep arguing about a smoke-off.
yeah, who is the
On the
best
grill?
on the grill?
I think that night's the night we do it.
And Daniel's the judge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was
there
about
you
to
go.
say,
Judge.
I don't want to embarrass anybody by taking part, but I'll absolutely.
Oh!
I mean, the man does. He has. He's got the
I
jacket.
know.
He's
I
got
know.
the
It's
jacket.
it's about the jacket.
It really
Like,
is. You got to respect the jacket. So, all right, and finally this evening, though, in the world of mixed martial arts, it has been announced that one Donald Cowboy Cerrone has decided that he wants to make a return to the world of mixed martial arts at 41 years old, who actually pushes a anabolic steroid on his Instagram as what he's now doing to be on the good stuff. I'm just saying, that's what he calls it. He has now said that he wants to come back into the world of fighting and is talking about re-entering the USADA pool. All right, you have seen Cowboy Cerrone fight. He fought the likes of Conor McGregor. He has fought the likes of many. He goes all the way back to the WEC days. And actually, if you're old enough, there was a show called Tap Out that was done by the clothing company. And that's where Donald Cerrone was discovered. Yes, it was on Versus, and the Tap Out crew, Mask, Skyscrape, and Punk Ass, all traveled the country, and they picked up fighters. And one of them was Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Yes, I'm that old in this sport, and I got used to get free Tap Out gear. But Jim
remember
Range,
that.
should Cowboy make a return? Your silence says everything.
No, I mean, do I think he should? No. Is it his choice? Yes. And I'm sorry, but you look at the paydays now, what they're getting versus what he was. And Donald likes to spend his money.
That he does.
And I'm sorry. There's a reason I'm not retired fully. I spend money.
I mean, fair. So, would you like to see Cowboy fight one more time?
I'd love to see it, and I mean, I can make the same argument about Mike Tyson. Like, he's older, and he's still capable and willing to do it. Why
If he
shouldn't
comes back, I may go see because I've never seen him fight in person.
Yeah, and why shouldn't Cowboy come back?
Right.
Like, you say 41, that's not that old.
For Yeah.
For the fight world
You-
as old.
But no,
I
I'm
get for the
serious.
fighting
I
world,
mean,
but
Yeah,
you
that's
see,
old.
Mike Tyson coming back. Maybe he's gotten better over that age. Hey, Tom Brady
Have you
won a
watched-
Super Bowl after 40.
have you seen Tyson train?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh boy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think. Should Donald Cowboy Cerrone come back? As far as I'm concerned, no. And actually, even in the eyes of Dana White, Dana said, I would much rather let's find him something else to do if he needs money, or if he's bored, including go ride Dana White's bull. Because Dana owns a bull. It is what it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, of course, yes.
I have a gotcha.
Oh,
Oh,
goodness.
here we go.
Okay, I wasn't ready for this.
Wow.
Paige Van Zandt is 1-0-1 now in slap fighting.
Okay, we're going to have to call our buddy Colton Cole on this one. Because you're right, Paige Van Zandt is 1-0-1 in slap fighting. But did you see the video? If you watch the video, have you seen the slap fighting?
I have not. I've seen slap fighting. I
Okay.
used to do it, for fun. But
Well, all right. So we have a friend. We have a friend who is a power slap guy. Like he's in the show. He was on the house show and the whole bit. And he came on, and he's actually a chef also, which is
Oh.
so y'all must slap each other in the kitchen. I'm just saying.
allegedly, I won't
All right,
say
fair.
anything out loud.
But I saw the video, and if you don't tell me they don't call her for flinching, because if you look at it, she literally tightens up everything in her face, and she just braces for this smack. Now, she doesn't like wince, but she definitively flinches in every shot, but yet they didn't call it. And why didn't they? Why, Matt? Why do you think?
She's Paige.
Pretty girl.
It's terrifying. So.
Well, she's not going to be a pretty girl by the end of her slap fighting career.
Well, it was even worse when she decided to do bare knuckle, because that beat the brakes off of her.
So what's funny is my wife's watching right now.
Yeah.
Remember when we had her watch the video of Colton?
Oh, yeah. She's like, he's here? Yeah. So it was.
But
it was
no,
bad.
she doesn't get out. We watch people fight. And she doesn't get out women going to get the shit beat out of each other.
I watch War because I was there, and so the whole
Yeah.
jaw breaking. Like I kind of find humor in it at this
Exactly.
point. I mean, maybe that's just me.
All right, what do you think? Number one, did Paige Van Zandt flinch? Number two, should Cowboy come back? Let us know on Instagram at MMA Bourbon Society. Okay, Daniel, tell them all how they can find out information about the Rack House, how they can find out information about you. Let them know out there. So,
Don't find me. Find me at the Rack House. Reach out to us on Facebook at the Rack House on Facebook, the Rack House on Instagram, and then if you want to make a reservation, look on Resi, and we will be there.
What's
we
the
will
address?
Support you.
We'll get the address
it's just
for you.
highway
Okay.
in-
We're off highway
Highway
in.
in Cottleville.
all right. It is well worth it. Check it out at the Rack House. Definitely one of the best. And I'm going to go finish the steak because they didn't behind the scenes. I am 100% going to do that because I'm starving. But thank you very much for joining us here. Again, Craig, congrats on the top 30. We're real proud of you, buddy. So
Keep it up.
absolutely. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time right here on the MMA Bourbon Appreciation Society.